By the way, I prefer you when I discuss with you. You are a reasonable person. So my point is, he came to me, saying to me, "What is your inquiry or what's your query about Trinity?" I said to him, simple question.
Sheikh,
simple.
Can we teach him?
I said to him, that's my point. No, we are in this discussion. Do you want to get involved in it? Do you want to be involved in it?
Sheikh.
Do you want to be involved in this discussion?
So Muhammad,
the Trinity.
Muhammad.
Do you want to be involved in this discussion?
Muhammad.
Do you understand?
The agreement
is my
we
question
had earlier
was
that we were going to talk about Torah versus Sharia.
Yeah, that was his
That is
comment.
the agreement.
Okay.
And we dealt with we dealt with
I have no problem.
sexual promiscuity
I
earlier.
have no problem. I have no
Shall
problem.
we deal with Taqiyya today?
No.
As
No, no.
how we agreed earlier.
Not now. Firstly, our cameras are not here, which is I don't.
Well, you must have plenty of cameras around.
Yeah, they're not here.
You must
That's
have
one thing.
plenty of
That's one thing.
There we go.
Our cameras are not
Your
here.
camera.
Just give, we'll give you 2
Our
minutes.
cameras are not here.
Where are your cameras?
No.
Hold your
You're not
cameras.
limiting me
Where
to 2
are
minutes.
your cameras?
Now here. While we have a discussion.
Now, Muhammad.
You came. Hold on. You came while we had a discussion.
So
yes?
now let's put it this way.
No,
Muhammad,
that's
we,
not okay.
so we have a neutral camera.
Yeah, COE. We got COE. We got COE in the house. We got DJ Risa in the house.
Muhammad, are you confident about Islam? Are you confident about Islam?
Of course.
Yeah.
Full confidence.
If you are confident, so
Okay.
here we have content over everything.
Of course.
Which is a very neutral
by the
camera.
way, he's neutral, and I respect.
Which is very good. So let's deal with this.
I have no problem
So
with him. by the
our
way.
agreement earlier was that we were going to deal with Sharia versus Torah. Just to give a quick reminder,
That's right.
a couple of weeks ago, we said sexual promiscuity, the Bible has a standard, which is one man, one woman, husband and a wife.
Which
you
failed
dealt with it.
Which you failed with it.
Well, if that's your opinion, I don't want to
Which you
argue
failed
with
to
that
do
now.
Muslim.
Let's move on. People have heard our debate already.
Yeah, that's
knows what happened. Now,
Yeah.
the particular challenge again.
You said here now.
Taqiyya.
Now, hold on a second.
Let me read this passage to you.
Read it.
So you are.
But by the way, we have we said we're gonna have a few discussions. We
Yes.
agreed to have
Absolutely.
discussions.
A few.
Now here.
Today
Two
we're
minutes each.
beginning with Taqiyya.
We initially started. We said we want to talk about the Trinity, which you accept.
No,
and then
when did
you
I-
said,
No,
and
we
then
never
you
said that.
proposed.
We never said that. We never said
And
that.
then you proposed to talk about taqiyya. Then I accept. Now,
so
listen. For me,
We
I
will
have
do a
no
flashback
problem.
on this.
If you want to talk about it, I have no problem with it. Yeah. But as long as we're gonna discuss the Trinity as well later on.
Absolutely. No, I have no problem defending my
Trinity
God
is not a
later
problem.
on. But
That's fine.
what we
Trinity is
agreed
not a
on,
problem.
we
Only it's a problem for Muslims.
What we agreed
us,
on,
no
what we agreed on, Muhammad, is that initially we were going to do a series on
Yeah. Fine.
Torah versus Sharia.
Okay.
So this week I'd like to pose this particular challenge to you, which is, I'm reading from Surah 3, Ayah 28.
Yes.
Surah Al-Imran, Ayah 28. It says, "Let not the believers take disbelievers for their friends in preference to believers."
Yes.
Who does that has no connection with Allah, unless that you only guard yourselves against them,
Yes.
taking security. Allah orders you to beware of Himself. To Allah is the journeying. So there are two very particular points here. Believers are not supposed to take disbelievers for friends, number one. Number two, there is only one exception, and that exception is if there is if it is to
By the way,
safeguard
how
yourself.
are you gonna talk against me? So you're gonna have 2 minutes, and I have 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah?
No.
Hold on a second. 2 minutes against 2 minutes?
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Yeah, that's good.
Maybe 3 minutes.
Yeah?
3 minutes.
What's
Yeah.
it? No,
2
no,
minutes.
2 minutes.
3 minutes. 3
I
minutes.
have
3.
3
2
is
minutes.
good.
2 minutes.
3
minutes.
minutes.
3.
Okay.
2 is too short.
I have 2 minutes. Simple. You get on with it.
Okay, 2
Okay.
minutes.
Who's gonna do the monitoring
Uncle
the
Asif,
times?
you do it.
Monitoring the time.
timer.
Yeah. Who's gonna monitor the time?
Someone neutral.
Someone neutral.
Two or two less. Shit.
2 seems to be
I
very
prefer that.
No,
3
three.
minutes.
3
Shake.
is okay.
You want to
Three.
accept
I
2?
think 3 is okay, Sheikh.
So
3, please.
Because the passages
that
no.
will take the whole day.
Passages
2 against 2.
no.
All
Two,
right.
two.
That's fine.
Yeah, go.
Three.
Who's
I said
keeping
two.
time?
Three.
Who is keeping time?
Three by three.
Anyone? Any volunteers?
Three by
can you
three.
please?
Three by
Can you come
three.
over
I
here?
said two.
please?
Am I clear?
I said
Am I
2
clear?
minutes, 2 minutes, yeah.
Am I clear to you?
Yeah.
Three by
Am I
three.
clear to you? No,
Yeah.
I said to you
Three,
two.
three.
Do you accept?
No. Passage is long, so 3 by 3 is okay.
Yes,
Mohammed,
Three.
I prefer three,
I
but
said
if
two.
he insists on two,
Yes, I
that
said
is fine. Because my
Fine.
focus is more crucially
Fine.
on the problem at hand.
That's fine.
So are we doing two or three?
Two.
started now.
Okay. Now,
So,
two start.
Three.
Two.
Yes. Who is starting first?
Yeah, so I am starting now.
Your turn.
Yeah. Okay.
You got Seiko.
2 minutes, yeah. 2 minutes. Cool.
1, 2, 3, start.
All right. So today, Torah versus Sharia. And the particular point I'd like to talk about is truth. How crucial is it for God to speak the truth?
Okay.
And can we trust in a God who advocates talking lies? That's my crucial problem.
Okay.
Surah 3, Ayah 28. Let not the believers take disbelievers for their friends in preference to believers. Who does that has no connection with Allah, unless that you only guard yourselves against them. So, Quran advocates disbelievers to not take believers to not take disbelievers as friends, except if it corresponds to security. Now, Ibn Kathir, in terms of expounding on this, he says, we smile in the face of some people, although our hearts curse them. That's what he says. Smile in the face, but our hearts curse them. So Allah advocates believers to not take disbelievers as friends, number one. Allah also advocates that what that means is smile in the face, but in the hearts you are cursing. Contrast that against the Bible, God of the Bible, Yahweh. What does Yahweh say? Jeremiah chapter 9 verse 8. Their tongue is an arrow shot out, it speaks deceit. One speaks peaceably to his neighbor with his mouth, but in his heart he lies in wait. Shall I not punish them for these things? Yahweh thinks anyone, even if it is Judah, if he speaks peaceably to his neighbor, but in his heart lies in wait, it's a punishable offense. Yahweh wants to stick with the truth all the time. Islamic Allah of the Quran thinks deceit is good. Now, therefore, they are polar opposite to each other. Yahweh to me seems like the sensible God.
Okay. Finished?
Start.
Okay. Now, you brought one point. You said about taking the disbeliever as a friend. And this is one interpretation. Because Allah said in the Quran, He said, أَتَّخِذُ الْمُشْرِكِينَ أَوْلِيَاءَ مِن دُونِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Meaning, take the disbeliever as either لا تأخذوا yeah, it means don't take the disbeliever as awliya. Awliya means in Arabic it has different meanings. One of the meanings of awliya, allegiance, that kind of allegiance. Don't take the disbeliever as allegiance. And here when Allah Azza wa Jalla, when this ayah was revealed, it was revealed when there used to be a war between Muslims and disbeliever in Mecca. So here Allah Azza wa Jalla is saying you cannot be on both sides. You cannot take them as alliance, as allegiance against the believer. And Allah Azza wa Jalla has criticized this and made it clear that you cannot take those ones who are taking enmity to Islam, someone who has enmity towards Muslim and Islam, to take him as alliance, as someone who is close to you, as a beloved one. Even, by the way, awliya means as well, mean beloved one as well. So it could be alliance. It has the meaning of friends as well. It has the meaning of supporters. It has awliya, by the way. This all meanings of awliya, and it has the meaning as well beloved ones. So Allah Azza wa Jalla criticized this act to take the disbeliever, those disbelievers, not any disbeliever. So here Allah Azza wa Jalla has said in this particular verse, when it was revealed, you quote Ibn Kathir, but as well from you didn't quote Ibn Kathir when he's discussing this verse. And this is the misconception, and this is, I will not say misconception, I will say you intend to not to quote what Ibn Kathir gives the tafsir of this verse. So here this verse was particularly revealed yeah, in certain instance. What's the instance? One of the believer, one of the Muslims, what he has done is Hatib ibn Abi Balta'a, by the way, that what he has done, he wrote a letter to the disbeliever to tell them about the conquest of Mecca. So one of these things, Allah is criticizing this act, and later on as well, I will elaborate inshallah ta'ala more. You have the time.
Yeah. So, Muhammad, you said this is revealed when there was an issue with Mecca. This is supposed to be a Medinan surah. While in Medina, where Muhammad had an upper hand, this thing was revealed. According to your sources, you can take any Quran in your hand and find out if it is a Meccan surah or Medinan surah. This is obviously a Medinan surah.
Yeah.
And therefore, to cry foul purely because you have a lower hand and you need some help in terms of better strategy is not, it's not truthful. That might be taqiyya, by the way. Now, let's get back to the point again. The point I am saying is, Ibn Kathir very precisely quotes, smile in the face while you are cursing in their hearts. In other words, to me, it seems like Muslims like you can walk around in a country like the UK or elsewhere today and be smiling at us, wanting to debate with us in a friendly manner, facially, but in our hearts you might be cursing us. Why should we even trust you? That is the problem I have. Now, more crucially, more importantly, my problem is that your Islamic Allah of the Quran advocates that legally. My Yahweh, on the other hand, in Jeremiah, the verse that I read, clearly says, it clearly says, talking about Judah, by the way, he clearly said, their tongue is an arrow shot out, it speaks deceit. One speaks peaceably to his neighbor with his mouth, but in his heart he lies in wait. Shall I not punish them for these things? Medinan Surah, while you had the upper hand, your Allah, Islamic Allah of the Quran advocates you can deceive, but my Yahweh to Judah says you can't deceive, it's a punishable offense. Polar opposites, Yahweh and Islamic Allah of the Quran.
Now going back, I didn't claim that it is Makki surah. I didn't claim this. I said when the Muslim had a war, you understand what means a war? A war means there is a state of Muslims in Medina and there is a state of disbeliever in Mecca. And those states, they were fighting each other. So that's the meaning. It doesn't mean that it was revealed. I didn't say it was revealed in Mecca. So it was during that time. So Allah Azza wa Jal has said to us clearly in the Quran that we don't take them as alliance against the believer, to take them as alliance, meaning those ones who are alliance, to take, for example, any disbelievers, those ones who are enemies to Islam, and to take them as alliance against Muslims. So Allah Azza clearly saying, and Allah Azza saying this, that's about the first part. The second part, Allah Azza has said, now here in certain situation, now if you went out, for example, if you went out and you know there is a life-threatening matter, a life, you understand what it means, life-threatening matter. You are under a life-threatening matter. Now here, what you should do, you should go to say, well, you know what, you are my enemy amongst people who's going to kill you at any point. So here Allah has said, Allah has said in the Quran, giving excuse for the one who are weak in terms of ability, for example, or they are, for example, or they're going to be oppressed, or they're going to be killed, or they're going to be tortured. At least to hide this in their heart. So Allah allowed this, to hide this in their heart in order to prevent to be killed. So Allah has said, in this case, for example, and it happened, for example, many of the Muslims who stayed in Mecca, who couldn't expose their belief because of if they expose it, they're gonna be killed. The same thing how Islam survived in Andalusia when the Spanish came and took over, for example, the country, or took back the country according to them. When they came to that country, many Muslims they had to hide their belief because otherwise they're going to be killed. Simple as that. The same as the Jews, they had to hide their belief and to travel. The same as even non-Christian, non-Catholic, they have to hide their belief. Yeah?
Can I give comment?
No, one second. Let's finish it. So, are we starting here? Muhammad, you haven't addressed the cursing part. If you are afraid of Spanish people, be silent. Don't curse. Go around curse. My question is, why would Islamic Allah sanction cursing while smiling externally? Number one. Number two. Excuse me. If you are going to interrupt, we need to go. So he is interrupting.
Yeah.
So I need to have 20 more minutes. If you interrupt,
20 what?
If you,
Second.
20
Okay.
more seconds.
I will have
If
half
you-
an hour then.
If you interrupt,
20
I did
seconds.
not interrupt.
20
if
seconds
you
only.
interrupt,
No, 20 seconds.
20
10
seconds.
but I will
10
try.
seconds.
but can we say you won't interrupt in the future?
Okay,
Simple.
I will not interrupt.
Let's not interrupt. 10 more seconds this time. Let's not interrupt. So, Mohammed, are you willing to say, now that we have peace in the UK, that you can boldly say, Muslims across the UK, please don't take Quran, Surah 3, Ayah 28 seriously. It's not for you for today. Allah has made a mistake. It doesn't apply for you today. Can you please boldly say that if that is your point? My point again is, number one, please do that. Number two, find one passage in the Bible where Yahweh sanctions, regardless of whether it is war or whether it is any other serious issue, for people of Israel or Christians to go around cursing internally while externally they're smiling. Does Yahweh think this is appropriate even during wartime? So, two specific points. Islamic Allah, you think it thinks this is appropriate, number one, during war. I think Yahweh would not think this is appropriate in any situation. Therefore, they are polar opposites, number one. Number two, you think this applies only during war. I disagree. Quran disagrees. Ibn Kathir disagrees. Yet if you want to insist this is only during wartime, please proclaim to the nation today, Muslims, don't take Quran Surah 3 Ayah 28 seriously. It doesn't apply to you. Islamic Allah of the Quran made a mistake. Don't do it. Please announce that publicly.
Okay. Now here, what he said, we need to understand, because this is the problem. Someone will open the Quran, and you said that the Quran, Allah is saying, cursing them. Allah didn't say curse them, by the way. This is a statement of Ibn Kathir, not the statement of the Quran. Allah didn't say curse them, by the way. Even though Allah Azza wa Jalla has cursed the disbeliever in other ayah, but not in this ayah. So you cannot use it. Do not manipulate the Quran. That's one thing. On the other side as well, what are the Muslims who are living in UK? Can they take this ayah? Or is there other things in the Quran? We need to understand, and this is for all our audience, and this is for message for the Muslims and also for the non-Muslims. We need to understand the Quran holistically. We cannot take one verse and just implement it everywhere. So Allah Azza said, for example, in Surah Al-Mumtahina, chapter number 60, if you want to check, chapter number 60, verse number 8, Allah Azza said, لا ينهاكم الله عن الذين لم يقاتلوكم. Allah Azza wa Jal doesn't forbid you for those one who didn't fight you. ولا في الدين, who didn't fight you for religious matters, ولم يخرجوكم من دياركم, and they did not drag you away from your homes, and تبروهم, to be good with them. Allah didn't say to be just. تبروهم وتقسطوا إليهم. Look at this, these two things. To be good to them, تبروهم, to treat them in a good way, in kind way. This is the birr. وتقسطوا إليهم, and as well to be just with them. Yeah, and in another as well, even some scholars of Islam, they said وَتُقْسِطُ إِلَيْهِمْ, not necessarily also meaning to be just with them, as well to give them portion as well of your wealth as a gift to them, because they have treated you in a good way, in a kind way. إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ الْمُقْسِطِينَ. Verily Allah loves those who are just. So here in this verse, clearly say for those ones who are disbeliever, they are disbeliever. Allah is saying those ones who are disbeliever, but those disbeliever, they're different than others. They didn't drag you away from your home. They didn't fight you for your religion, and they treated you at least in a just way, in a good way. Allah is saying to us to treat him in a best manner. So here Allah has said in the Quran of this.
So Muhammad, you have refused to answer my question. My recommendation, can you, if you think this ayah does not apply to Muslims today, especially in the UK, can you boldly declare Islamic Allah has made a mistake, this should not be around in the Qurans which have been circulated in the UK, please take that ayah away. Can you please boldly say that if you genuinely think this doesn't apply? Number one. Number two is, I'm not asking if Allah says other nice things elsewhere. I'm not asking that. All that I'm asking is, does Islamic Allah of the Quran advocate deception in some situations? Externally smiling, internally cursing. Does he advocate that in some situations? What does Yahweh think? Yahweh thinks even if it is Judah who does that, never would I let that happen without judgment coming. So Yahweh thinks this would demand judgment on them. I can add one more point to that. What does Yahweh go on to say? Yahweh, Jeremiah chapter 9 verses 25-26 goes on to say, behold, the days are coming, says Yahweh, that I will punish all who are circumcised with the uncircumcised. All who are circumcised with the uncircumcised. Egypt, Judah, Edom, the people of Ammon, Moab, and then comes the interesting part again. Because this again is a reference to the Arabs. And it says, and all who are in farthest corners, who dwell in the wilderness. For all these nations are uncircumcised, and all the house of Israel are uncircumcised in the heart. Note this verse carefully. Yahweh thinks deception, regardless of who it comes from, is punishable. God would judge. Islamic Allah thinks this
now
is
it's my
fine.
turn now. Now here, look at yourself now here. Look at yourself now here. This is the deception is actually in Christianity or in Christian things more than Islam. Now here we know that the law of the Jews, that they are circumcised. That's their law. This is their law. And now punishing the circumcised one. What's this? What kind of religion is that? So it's advertising or advocating people to get circumcised on one side, and on the other side we're gonna punish those ones who are circumcised. How is this? You need to understand. As the Turkish they say, there is a saying in Turkey, they say, can your ears hear what your tongue is saying? The other point here. Now here, let's get to the other point. You are saying now, this is the problem. You are saying now, if you believe Yahweh was so kind and nice, so Jesus said clearly to the people, bring those who doesn't accept me as a king and slay them before me. What does it mean by that? What did he mean by this? Meaning, if you didn't accept Jesus saying to these people, if you didn't accept him as a king, slay them before him. And in the same time saying, if someone hit you on your right cheek, turn the left cheek. How is that? So don't you see there is a big contradiction between the statement of Jesus in the same Jesus in the New Testament, let alone the Old Testament. So it's saying and saying to the people, those ones who doesn't accept me as a king, slay them, kill them before me. And in the same time, if someone hit you in your right cheek, turn the left cheek. How is this? Don't you think there is hypocrisy there? Didn't you see the hypocrisy here? So that's why I will say to you, you need to read your own text before you talk about other people's text. And again, Allah Azza wa Jalla, in each circumstances, there is ruling. If you are enemy to Islam, I will not take you. Even to Islam Muslim, I will not take you as alliance with me. If you are kind to me and good to me, I will treat you fairly as Allah commanded me to do. It depends on the people, and that's how it is.
Muhammad, the topic today is on deception. The topic is not about kindness, mercy, and everything else. We can have a detailed discussion on all of those things if you want on a separate occasion. All those things later.
You laugh and you.
I need 20 more seconds.
Don't run away from the topic, Sheikh.
You're disturbing.
No, I'm disturbing
Muhammad,
the
you're
guy.
not listening.
And he's disturbing me, and you didn't say nothing.
Yeah. So
Hold
Muhammad,
on. Why you didn't stop him when he was disturbing me?
he's not debating me.
Okay,
I'm debating you.
I'm dealing with him.
Muhammad, we're talking about Syria. Can we start again? Yeah. Muhammad, let's stick to a simple thing. Kindness is not the topic of discussion today. Mercy and compassion, not the topic of today. The topic of today is deception. I asked you a very specific question. Does Allah or the Quran, Islamic Allah, advocate deception in any situation? And you were saying yes, and you gave some specific cases or whatever. My challenge to you is, you brought in Jesus. Let me make my challenge clear. Take Jesus, take the pre-incarnate Yahweh, take any portion of the Bible and find out one portion where Yahweh, God of the Bible, advocates and legalizes deception. If you show that to me today, I would have no reason to trust in Yahweh anymore. But if I show you the portion where Islamic Allah thinks you can deceive, then you should seriously suspect what Islamic Allah tells you. Because he might be deceiving you. He might be doing taqiyya to you. And you yourself know the Quran says Allah is the greatest of deceivers. So what is there to say he is not deceiving you today? Like how you think he deceived Christians through what happened in the case of Jesus Christ. Anyway, so that's the challenge to you. are you willing on top of that? So, can you proclaim boldly, now that it's not wartime, Muslims in the UK, please don't take Surah 3, Ayah 28 seriously. It's not supposed to be there. Please remove it. Can you please tell that to all Muslims? Thank you.
Okay, now here, this is the problem. When it comes to you, you couldn't answer. When it comes to your text, you couldn't answer. You were away from your answer. So I asked you the same simple question. Again, I don't know, repeat the question to you again. Now here, I ask you, why Jesus changed the word from time to time? And that's the same point exactly what I'm saying. Why Jesus, by the way, was when he was saying to his friends around him, bring those who doesn't accept me as a king, slay them before me. Yeah. And in the same time, what he was doing with the Romans, he was smiling at their faces. What's happening? So those Romans who killed him and they did all these things to kill him and they crucified him, the same ones he was smiling at their faces. But in the same time he was saying to his disciple, yeah, by the way, and that's, I need 10 seconds more. Yeah, because I need 10 seconds more.
Okay, give him 10 more seconds. You're gonna have 20 more seconds.
No,
30 more seconds.
seconds.
Try and
20 seconds.
justify
I accept
Islamic
the 30.
Allah of the
By the way,
Quran.
add 30 as you
20
said.
seconds.
We'll give you
Come to the point.
Islamic
Come to
Allah
the
of the
point.
Quran.
Now,
Come to the point.
it's not your business. Yeah. So anyway, so now here, this is the problem here. When you are looking into your own text, you will find Jesus saying sometimes statement, and at the same time saying another statement in another place. Now here, Allah Azza wa Jalla is saying to us in the Quran, again, I'm saying to you, this ayah applies to someone who deserves to be applied to. For example, someone who is I am here weak person. For example, if I live in a land, and those people, if they knew about that I'm a Muslim, they're gonna kill me. So Allah has given me the Quran that in order for me to survive, not to go back and say to the people, I am here a Muslim. So Allah is telling us in the Quran, this is hiding our faith. That's one thing. In the same time, Allah Azza wa Jal told us, and the same many people, the same as the Christian, even during the Roman time in the beginning, they used to hide their faith. They couldn't. 30 seconds more. Yeah. So they used to hide. Give
30 more
No, you
seconds.
have no. I didn't agree. You agreed this.
30 more.
Okay. Yeah.
Add 30 more.
No, I'm not adding.
But try and
I'm
justify.
not adding for you. So anyway, going back to the point, we said here, why Allah allowed us in this circumstance, and in the same time Allah told us as well in the Quran, those one who dealt with me in good way, in a nice way, to deal with them in the best manner. So that's depends on the application. Now it's 2 minutes.
That's beating around the bush.
So Muhammad has agreed on camera. Has agreed on camera that Islamic Allah of the Quran advocates deception. Smile in the face and in the hearts, curse them. Muhammad, Islamic Allah thinks you can do it. Taqiyya is valid according to Muhammad. Islamic Allah thinks deception is valid. If that is the character of Islamic Allah, what is there to say Islamic Allah isn't deceiving all of you Muslims today? Challenge number 2. Abbas, please.
Allah, don't help me.
Muhammad needs to listen to me, please.
Allah, don't make it worse.
Showing the deception of God in the Bible.
No, sorry.
Muhammad, so you said that Jesus
Abbas, if he's
is
calling
going to
you.
judge. I have no problem. That is precisely my point. Jeremiah chapter 9, the last few verses. Behold, the days are coming where I will punish.
Yes.
Judgment is coming. I'm not denying it. Jesus is going to judge. The Old Testament God talked about the same judgment. And you said Jesus smiled. Note carefully, the problem is in the smiling. The problem is smiling and cursing. That is the problem. My Jesus never smiled externally and then cursed internally. That is the problem. By all means, go around, smile at all sorts of people. It's good. It's wonderful. That is a good God, Jesus Christ. You yourself agree. My problem is Islamic Allah thinks quite the contrast, the opposite. Smile externally, curse internally. Can you please go around? Is it time? Can you please go around saying Surah 3, Ayah 28 does not apply today? You think only in some circumstances it applies? Can you please elaborate? Today in the UK, does it apply? If it doesn't, can you please tell all Muslims in UK today, Quran has got it wrong. It's not the word of God for all times. It doesn't apply today. Please erase it away. 328, please take that away. Doesn't apply. If you think it applies.
And don't beat around the bush, please.
Now going back to the same point. Look at this. Now you are saying here, Now, the brother, he brought this verse. Now, and that's one thing, a verse in the Bible. Now, this verse in the Bible is not just only the Muslims. So, God Himself, Jesus Himself, according to you, He's the God, yeah? He's Yahweh, He's the same one. So, Jesus Himself, what He did, He made Pharaoh's heart to be hard. So, look at this, what it says. And I will harden. So, Jesus saying, He will harden Pharaoh's heart. He will harden Pharaoh's, He will make the Pharaoh's heart hard. Even it was hard already, will make it more harder, even more harder. Yeah, and I will look at this, and He will pursue them, and then He said, and I will get glory over Pharaoh. So here Allah is saying, So here Jesus is saying to the people, yeah, I will make the Pharaoh's heart hard.
Like your heart.
Nah, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. I need 10 seconds. I need 10 seconds. I need 10 seconds. Now here is saying, what's the meaning of this? Now even that means, is Pharaoh blamed? Here the question. Is Pharaoh blamed for his hard heart? No, of course. Because Jesus made him that. Jesus love according to you, He is the one made the Pharaoh's heart hard. Yeah, that's one thing. And then he punished him over that. Look at this, and this is kind of manipulating the people's understanding. And Allah Azza wa Jalla told us in the Quran again, this ayah, this verse is implemented in certain situation. Our brothers and sisters, for example, who are being killed, for example, in Kashmir. How are they gonna come out to the for example to the government, and they come out we're Muslim? They might kill them. Simple as that. So here Allah Azza is saying to them, they have excuse to hide their faith. They have excuse to this. The same as many people in this country, not in another country. They used to, even Protestant in this country, they used to hide their faith when the Catholic was ruling. So it is normal. Allah Azza is saying, so don't blame yourself for that by hiding this. At the end of the day, but at the same time, when Allah Azza has said to you on the other side to be good to the one who dealt with it, your turn.
You are
Muhammad was
Uncle, we got it.
You are Pharaoh of today's.
Asif, please.
You are Pharaoh of today's. Yeah. So your heart is hardened.
Uncle.
Your heart is hardened like Pharaoh.
So your heart is
hardened like Pharaoh.
Is the Holy Spirit
You need.
So your Holy Spirit speaking now.
You see, when Muslims
Jesus love is talking now. Jesus love is talking.
When Muslims speak a truth, the real wolves come out.
Jesus love is talking now.
You see the sheep's clothes these Christians are wearing. The real wolves come out when you speak the truth.
The love of the Holy Spirit is
The
talking
real wolves
now.
come out when you speak the truth.
The love of the Holy
You
Spirit.
are.
These are the loving Christians.
This is the love.
You are acting like a.
Uncle,
The love of Jesus is talking now.
Asif, learn from them.
Should we start?
You need to learn.
Asif, please. So let's start. So your point is.
I want to thank you for something. Because you have one of the best manners, actually. I want to thank you.
Don't worry about it.
You have a good manners. I admire this.
You could thank Yahweh. Thank
No.
Yeah. So Muhammad,
Allah did ask me to thank you. I would thank you
Muhammad,
for that.
Muhammad,
being
let's
good.
go back. Note carefully, you're not addressing the specific term cursing. You're talking about hiding your faith, doing this, doing that. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about cursing. Can the Kashmiris go around cursing is the question. My point is Jesus would never allow. You spoke about the Pharaoh and judgment. Can I please advocate to you, communicate to you something very simple? Judgment to the Pharaoh was determined even before the 10 plagues began. He was entreating, making Israel a nation of slaves. Slavery, by the way, Yahweh would judge people who handle slaves, make other people slaves, like how it is advocated in Islam. Yahweh would judge on that also. But that's a huge topic. We'll get to that a bit later. Question. Excuse me.
Abbas, don't help
Judgment
me.
was determined later. There is no deception involved. Pharaoh was told, I'm going to judge you, and that is precisely what Yahweh did. No deception involved. I'm coming back to you, Muhammad. Address, please, the point about cursing. Does Quran Surah 3:28 apply to the UK today? You are saying it applies at some points in time in time. And my challenge to you is, Jesus disagrees, Yahweh disagrees. According to the Bible, there is no point in time where deception is legally allowed. Please address Islamic Allah thinks it is allowed, polar opposite to Yahweh. You need to leave Islamic Allah behind and He will give you only bad manners. If you need good manners, you need to come to Yahweh. Now, specifically, the question I'm going to ask you, if you have a wife and if you marry a new wife, a second wife, are you allowed to lie about the new wife? Does Islamic Allah think you can lie? Is taqiyya allowed in that particular scenario?
Now listen to this, yeah. Here, this is the problem. That's again, I want to address the same problem. Now here you said Allah is saying, Allah didn't say curse them. Here it is ijtihad, what do you mean ijtihad? Meaning it's analogy done by one of the scholars said, meaning someone who is your enemy to say, he's gonna kill you in a minute. Yeah? If you expose any of your faith to him or her, then he's gonna kill you. So there is harm, it's a life-threatening matter. So what the person in life-threatening matter, what he should do? He should show angry face? Of course he's gonna show that there is nothing. That's normal. It's a normal human act. So here, Ibn Kathir is saying this, and at the same time means curse here in Ibn Kathir, meaning that you hate them to the extent that you might curse them. For example, someone is gonna kill me, what do you think? Should I turn, as you said Jesus, if someone hit your face on the right, turn the right face. What about if he raped your daughter? Will you give him the other daughter? What's this? How is it? Of course you're gonna hate this individual. Of course you hate them, even you curse them. That's fine. And if it's life-threatening matter, Allah told us in the Quran, of course, we shouldn't expose this our faith or our hatred towards them because we're gonna be killed. That's one thing. So it is applicable in certain situations. Of course it's applicable in certain situations. But Allah Azza wa Jalla told us, in the people who are dealing with us in a good way, Allah told us in the Quran clearly, Allah will not forbid you to deal with them in a kind way. So Allah said here, in a kind way, yeah, to deal with them in a kind way and to be just with them. Verily Allah is someone, Allah Azza wa Jalla loves those who are just. So Allah told us in the Quran here to be just with them and deal with them in a good way. Now here, and that's why, but you want to bring all these things. You just want to, throw things. And as well you said, okay, about taking slaves. What the Crusaders did, your Crusaders martyrs, those ones who came to the Middle East, killed thousands of people and take the rest as slaves. What? How are they gonna be nice people? How are they? That's why you need to understand. When you look at one person or one religion, look at yourself.
Ask Muhammad also.
Who
killed 800 Jews in one day? And
Should we?
he did.
So Muhammad,
block my shop.
Muhammad, thank you,
Block my shop.
thank you for agreeing that when you have enemies before you, smiling in the face and
look.
cursing in your heart is normal human action, and Islam is nothing different from it. Islamic Allah has no different judgment on that. In other words, Islamic Allah and Islam is just made up through normal human mindset. Muhammad, who is a normal human Arab, who would have cursed people in their hearts, just made things up and attributed to some superior being who is no superior in terms of moral character. Islam is just normal human action enshrined in religion. Hatred, violence, slavery, normal human action. Thank you for agreeing to that. And then you asked me, would I do it? If it happens to me, if a daughter of mine is being raped, would I give the other daughter? The question is not that, Muhammad. Please listen to the question again. I'm not asking if human beings would do it. I'm asking if Islamic Allah, if God would do it. Islamic Allah of the Quran seems to do it. Yahweh doesn't seem to do it.
Yeah.
And Yahweh, Jesus Christ says, bless those who curse you. Bless those who curse you. In other words, to me, in Yahweh, in Jesus Christ, I see superior moral character. In Islamic Allah of the Quran, I see a simple Arab character, and I don't want to be specific. That's racism,
normal
human character. Human character.
That's racism.
Normal human character.
That's racism, by the way.
Normal human character.
That's
Islamic
racism, by
Allah,
the way.
Islamic Allah of the Quran is
By the way, that's racism. And by the way, by law, you cannot criticize certain people.
So when
with certain
Allah is
things.
deceiving,
I cannot say Arabs or to
Did
say
Islam come from Arabs?
It's that
Allah
Did
is
Islam come from Arabs?
For all human beings.
My focus is simple.
For all
Islam
human
came
beings.
from Arabs. It seems like it's simple Arab feeling, much like all human feeling across the world, enshrined in a religion. Nothing to do with God.
Time.
Okay. Now going back to the point.
Allah is deceiving. That's right for them.
Yeah. Here. Let's read in Jeremiah as you said. Then I said, "Oh Lord." So what is the one here? Yeah.
Oh Lord, thou hast utterly deceived these people.
Yes, utterly.
God deceived
Here,
the
the
people.
God deceived the people. Here, that's in Jeremiah verse
Thank you,
number
Abbas.
10. Now here, why God is deceiving people? That's one thing. Yeah, you're talking about deception, and you're accusing other people to say this. No, here the Yahweh, as you said, and Jesus, chapter 4, verse 10, and Jesus saying deceiving people. So here Jesus deceiving people, and you said going back to the same point. Jesus, when he was alive, he didn't say about the day of judgment. Hold on a second. Jesus, he didn't say about the day of judgment. He said, bring those people who doesn't accept me as a king and slay them before me. Parable of, I don't care if it's parable or not. My point is, this how he feels. This how he feels against them. This how Jesus, and Jesus, he feels against his enemy that he will kill them. Jesus, he feels, he said, I came with a sword. Jesus said as well, bring those who doesn't accept me as a king and kill them, slay them before me. So this is how he feels against them. So for us, at least we don't feel wanted to kill someone. At least if we curse, that's less than what Jesus is doing.
Arul.
If we hate someone who is evil, wanted to kill us,
Arul.
the man, no one will say you cannot hate them. We hate them, of course. We hate them. In the same time, look at yourself. You're Jesus saying to you that they deserve to be killed. They killed them before me. That's what he said.
Yeah.
That's what the Crusaders did. That's why they killed the Muslims. That's why they killed thousands of Muslims because of that. That's why many Christian people who went extreme and killed people in according to this. So this is the point here. And that's why in Islam is telling us clearly those ones who dealt with you in a good way, deal with them in the best way, in the best manner, in a kind manner, and in a just way. That's how Allah told us in the Quran. And the one who's not doing it, Yalla, your turn.
All right, Muhammad, thank
Wait,
you.
Arul, let me change the battery. Sorry.
Continue.
But that's fine.
20 seconds of his time, please.
Well, finish him.
Now, so Muhammad, thank you for agreeing that you really hate us. You agreed on camera. You really hate many of us.
Thank you, Sheikh.
That's very. Yeah, we are grateful at least. Even though you hate us, at least you're not doing taqiyya, telling the truth as it is. Now, going back to Jesus.
Don't lie about it. Don't lie about it.
Going back to.
Don't lie about it. I didn't say I hate
you can check out your video again.
Yeah,
Going
yes,
back
of
to
course.
Jesus.
Told us to hate you.
My
Yes,
brother
absolutely.
Paperboy there clearly said it's a parable, but even regardless of that, I do agree that Jesus is a judge. There is going to come a judgment day when you better be terrified looking at Jesus. If you still disobey,
Which one? The Father
run
or the
far
Holy
away
Ghost?
from
Which one?
Jesus Christ, you better be
Which one?
terrified. Jesus is going to come
Which one
back
of them?
as a judge. Very important. Now, going back to Crusaders, we can have a long discussion on that later. That's not the topic today. Deception. Thank you for agreeing you hate. Thank you for agreeing that taqiyya in some situations is sensible and you do it. You are advocating other Muslims to do it. There are only two questions left to be asked. Number one, can you confirm if taqiyya, Surah 3, Ayah 28 applies today for the people in the UK and the wider Western world? Does it apply or not? Can you please clarify? And number two, if it does not apply, if it does apply, then please openly agree. If it does not apply, please tell before camera, Surah 3, Ayah 28 can be scribbled out
His time is 20
of
seconds
Quran, scribbled out. Quran doesn't apply to everyone for all times. Scribble out Surah 3, Ayah 28. Please. Does it agree? Does it apply to UK today? Does it not? Thank you for agreeing that you hate us. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheikh.
Now you mentioned, I never said this. Why do you lie? Did Jesus tell you to lie?
Check out the video again.
So what the person in life-threatening matter? What he should do? He should show angry face? Of course he's going to show that there is nothing. That's normal. It's a normal human act. So Ibn Kathir is saying this, and at the same time means curse here in Ibn Kathir, meaning that you hate them to the extent that you might curse them. This is Jesus. Their Jesus love, their Holy Ghost, telling them to lie. He is lying now.
Check it
Look
out.
at it. I said he didn't hate you. I said Allah told us in the Quran, again, let me repeat what I said. Allah told us in the Quran, of course, there are people who deserve to be hate. Someone who's taking me as enemy. Someone who's taking me as enemy. Someone who wanted to kill me. Do I love him? No, of course I hate him. Simple as that. If you wanted to kill me, or he, as he calls me, of course I hate an individual who wanted to kill me. If I didn't do nothing to you, why do you want to kill me? Of course I hate
Jews
people
and Christians
who
for
doesn't.
what reason?
Okay, that's part of my time. Add 10 seconds. 10 seconds more. Yeah. So now here we see here. Look at this. Look at this hypocrisy. And he is lying to me. If you, by the way, if you hate me and you wanted to kill me, of course I hate you. If you don't have any plan. If you don't have any plan to kill me, you don't have any plan, for example, to harm me or harm my family or harm any Muslim. Why I need to hate you? I wanted the guidance for you. I wanted you to be guided to the right path. That's what I want for you. This is what I wanted for you. I don't hate you if you are in this. But if you are raging war against Muslims and Islam and you're taking them as enemy to you, of course I hate you. Simple as that. That's how is it. That's, you need to understand where it is. And any person, and by the way, in related as well, to hide what you believe and to hide as well. There are many people who are being oppressed worldwide. All people. There are many people who are oppressed. There are some gangs who are controlling certain areas. What do you think about them? Even Muslim or non-Muslim. What do you think? They cannot even expose what they believe. They cannot expose even whatever they have. So that's why Allah Azza told us in the Quran, it is permissible for me as a Muslim, it is permissible for me to hide my faith and to hide what I feel about them, because those people, they're gonna kill me if I expose this. That's one thing, and that's normal thing. The other thing as well, why you don't pick him in the Quran when Allah Azza wa Jal has said in the Quran about those ones who dealt with me in a good way, in a kind way. Allah told us, why you don't read this? Why you only bring that side? Because here that's your own deception, and that's what your Holy Ghost, as you said, because his Holy Ghost still calling me Pharaoh, and your Holy Ghost lies.
So, Muhammad, thank you for agreeing that Islam is nothing but normal human action which is enshrined in a religion, nothing to do with any superior moral character, unlike Yahweh of the Bible.
He never said that.
I need 30 more seconds.
That's his
30 more
Holy
seconds. 30 more seconds. 30 more
He
seconds.
never said that.
His Holy Ghost is talking, no problem. His Holy Ghost is talking.
Stop
So
blaspheming,
your Holy
you
Ghost is talking,
demon.
yes?
Oh, yes.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Your Holy Ghost is
blaspheming, you
talking.
demon.
So what's the problem?
So your Holy Ghost is talking, yeah?
What's the problem
So
with
you know,
that?
this for the
What's
audience.
the problem with
Look
that?
how the Holy Ghost is lying.
What's the problem?
Did he
with
say
that?
that? Come
What's the
on.
problem?
Why do you lie? No, the Sheikh never said
People
that.
of Medina never attacked on Muhammad.
Gay, Michael, gay, Michael, gay.
Muhammad attacked the people of Medina.
Can we
Gay,
start
gay,
again?
Michael.
Yeah, can we
Muhammad
start?
attacked on the people of
Ask
Medina.
it once
Okay.
again. Can we- ask it
Other way
once-
around.
ask it once again. Can we start now, please?
Start.
So, Muhammad, you agreed on camera. If I feel like this, why can't I do this? If I feel like I want to curse, why can't I do it?
Feel like
was
what?
the reason
Feel like what?
you gave. In other
Listen.
words,
Listen and learn.
Islam is
Holy
nothing
Ghost
but
talks. It's okay.
normal human reaction to situations. That's all there is to Islam. Nothing to do with a superior moral character at all. Yahweh has a superior moral character. Bless those who curse you. Pray for those who persecute you. That is my Jesus. Muslims across the world, run to Jesus. Leave Islam. Run away from Islam. Islam is nothing but normal, vile, violent, human attitude to situations around you. Your own Muhammad agreed to that, and therefore let's take that seriously. He's an expert, so please take that seriously. Run to Jesus Christ. Now,
Thank you.
Coming to what we were talking about earlier, Muhammad, Quran says, believer, disbeliever. In Medina, Muhammad had the upper hand. In Medina was the surah revealed, the ayah revealed. While Muhammad had the upper hand, the very need of the surah, the ayah, if you read carefully, it says as if people want to have disbelievers as friends. In other words, the normal circumstance seems like they want to have them as friends. In that context, Muhammad says, don't do it. In other words, my dear Muhammad, you have misrepresented your own Quran. It's not talking about war, it's not talking about anything else. It's telling you to hate disbelievers, curse them in their hearts, and you have agreed. You're quite happy with taqiyya, quite happy with deception. Islamic Allah's best moral character is that Yahweh is polar opposite. God of Abraham, Isaac and Jacob, who is Jesus Christ, can never ever be compared to Islamic Allah. Jesus is there, Islamic
is it
Allah
done?
is there.
Okay.
Come follow Jesus.
Okay, let's continue. Let's continue. Now,
like that?
look at this. This is the problem, and that's how it is. We're going back to the same point. You said a few points actually, and one of the points you said, okay, Jesus love, and He is always good. He said, bless those who curses you. Right. So bless those who curses you. Yeah. In the same time, bring those who doesn't accept Him as a king to slay them before Him. What kind of contradiction is that? What kind? Add me another 10 seconds. Another 10 seconds, please.
There is going to be a judgment for you.
Start from the beginning. Start from the beginning.
Uncle, hold the umbrella, Uncle.
There is going to be a judgment for you.
Uncle, hold the umbrella.
Okay,
Uncle, hold the umbrella.
Leave that judgment.
Okay, he's still
Uncle, hold the umbrella.
That judgment.
Asif, we need to give Muhammad the best possible opportunity.
Okay.
He will thank
Because
himself.
Islamic Allah is in serious trouble. Please give him the best possible opportunity.
Now going back to the point.
Go on.
Going back to the point. You still you don't understand the Quran, and that's how it is. There's someone will come. You raised a few points. One of the points you said, bless those who curses you. Where Jesus said, bring those who doesn't accept me as a king, slay them before me. So He said, even that's a command. That's a command. And Jesus said, I came with a sword. So that's a command. So He's saying this. And in the same time, what kind of hypocrisy you said? You said that's the normal human nature. Is it the normal human nature if someone hit you on your right cheek to turn the left cheek is normal human nature? You said this is divine nature. That means if someone raped your daughter, you say, you know what? This is my second daughter. Rape her. That's how is it. You see how is it? This is the double standard that you have in Christianity. The double standard. You know yourself. You're gonna defend your daughter to the death. You know yourself. And any person who have a daughter will defend his daughter to the death. Why? Because we know this our daughter, that's our children. We need to protect them. So this is nonsense, and that's all nonsense what you bring. The other thing as well, you said that's a Medina. This is a Medina chapter. Yes, it's a Medina chapter. While the Prophet ﷺ and the Medina, they had war with Mecca. You understand?
No.
Oh, add me 20 seconds.
Uncle.
Interrupting. I need to interrupt. I can't. So how? So now here, when the Prophet ﷺ was married, they had a war between, them. Read any history book, read any biography of the Prophet ﷺ. You will find them that there is few battles happens between Mecca and Medina until nearly the 6th year of Hijrah, after migration of the Prophet ﷺ, until they conquer Mecca. All this time they had many wars between them and the disbeliever. So Allah Adil is saying to us in the Quran this, for those who stayed amongst them, not to expose your faith. 30 of course, seconds. Simple as that. Not to expose your faith, and to be, and as well, Allah told us in the Quran as well, for those ones who dealt with you in a nice way, in a good way, like some tribes, even they were disbeliever, and they came and they have allegiance with the Prophet because the Prophet didn't fight them. By the way, I have 10 seconds more. Yeah. So after that, we need to understand in the context. We cannot take the things out of context. This is the context of the Quran. So here it is applicable in certain situations to hide your faith. And even if someone wanted to kill you, what do you think about it? So the same thing, and in the other side as well, if someone is kind to you and good to you, Allah command in the Quran, Allah is commanding us in the Quran to deal with them in a good way. This is how the Quran is. This is how the Quran.
This should have been wrapped up a long time ago, by the way. All right, go on, Arul.
I think, Muhammad, we've got all your confession already on tape.
Yeah.
Hate people in some circumstances, curse them, smile externally,
because the Christian,
curse
they're Christian
internally.
God,
Don't interrupt.
not to give
Don't
them
interrupt. Don't interrupt, Sheikh.
So
Face Sheikh.
I don't care about your
Muhammad,
Christian
can I
umbrella.
hold that for you? Can I
50
hold
seconds.
that?
50 seconds.
No problem.
So Muhammad, he was holding it for all three, by the way,
to you,
all the time, all three. You can check it out on video. You can.
He hates us. He hates us.
Anyway,
He hates
Muhammad,
Christians.
let's put it simple. Confessions, yes, please.
Thank you, Saddam Hussein.
Confessions have been made. You hate, you think cursing is all right. It's quite normal human reaction. Islamic Allah has no better say than that. The only question you asked is, why don't you look at the nicer side of Islamic Allah, where he thinks good people have done good things to you. Why don't you consider that? Well, even normal human beings would do that. Again, normal human reaction. I don't need God to tell me that I need to be good to those who are good to me. I need God to tell me that I need to be good even to those who hate me. That is where I desperately need God. Islamic Allah, in other words, does not help you. He is nowhere close to God. Certainly miles polar opposite, infinitesimally different to Yahweh of the Bible. Jesus, love those, bless those who curse you.
Those who rape your mothers as well, you love them.
Well, unfortunately for you, we can have a long discussion about rape in other situations if you want. But let's stick to the simple definition for now. Bless those who curse you. If you don't like Jesus, well, I can't do much. I can't help you. If you think Islam is better than this, well, be happy with that. All that I'd like to say to all the Muslims who are listening carefully is that Islamic Allah just tells you what a normal human being would tell you. Why do you need God to do that to you? And therefore, it is quite obvious Islamic Allah of the Quran can't be God at all, even if He exists. Yahweh, on the other hand, bless those who curse you. Pray for those who persecute you. That's Yahweh of the Bible. Please come to Jesus Christ. He alone seems to be God. Islamic Allah could never ever be even assumed to be God. There can't be any confusion in this. Run away from this, including you, Muhammad. Run away from this. Leave your shaky occupation behind. Even if you lose money, run away from it. That money won't help you.
Yes.
Okay,
Jesus
thank you,
Thank you, Sheikh. Thank you, Sheikh. Thank you, Sheikh.
Look at this accusation. All this accusation is just nothing.
Sheikh, you're done.
You said most of it, actually, with all my respect, is rubbish. But let's go back to it. Now,
Don't you feel embarrassed?
Seriously, one of the things he says, the divine need to tell you not to hate. Okay, you divine tell you not to hate. If someone raped your mom, what you gonna love them? Oh, love those. Oh, shall we love those ones who rape someone's mom? Shall we? Right?
Normal Sheikh.
Okay.
Why did you send your daughter? Why did you send
Go.
your daughter to enjoy Mutadi?
So, just in conclusion, Yahweh does not hate Muhammad. Yahweh wants the Muhammad, the one who debated with me, to come to him. Yahweh is love. God of the Bible is love. The word of God clearly says God does not desire the death of even the wicked. So Yahweh loves. That is the God of the Bible. As our Muhammad agreed, Islam is nothing but normal human reaction enshrined in a religion. Islam is nothing but normal human reaction. You can't follow normal human reaction. You need to follow God. Come to Yahweh. Yahweh, Jesus demonstrated His love on the cross for the entire world to get to know and come to Him to be saved. In Jesus, you have eternal life. In Jesus, you have superior moral character. Yahweh alone is God. Islamic Allah is not God.